Come on, Soda Pop, let's go.
Unless you guys got something else about the jail.
Well, can I just say,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be out at 2:30 right now. I don't know if I should call them.
We'll give it like another 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
Or-
Yeah,
Can I
no,
just make one more comment
yeah.
about that?
Mhm.
So collectively, we've talked about mental illness and not a lot of options, what to do with that. We've talked about the courts and how they're filled up. We're talking about, drug court and DUI court, and one of the struggles we have is even though we have all these people working with a small select group, there's not places to house them. There's, some of those types of community resources. It's hard to get them into treatment because treatment centers are full, so as you look at all those moving pieces and then talk about how we're so full in the jail, there's so many things that need fixing or better alternatives or better options that just are not where they should be or need to be. And that's kind of why we're seeing this, where we're busting at the seams, in my opinion, is because all of those areas are lacking some of the resources that we need and the assistance to some of these people. And unfortunately, they find themselves in jail then.
Yeah. Well, to switch the subject on something a little, that's kind of a political hot potato now, and I know that the...
Oh, my time's up.
You don't have to comment, that's fine, I understand, but as we talked before the camera started rolling, that you are elected, unlike the police chief who's appointed, so his opinion sometimes he has to kind of keep to himself, but what do you think of the cell phone ban and the proposed, and I'll tell you my opinion, if it was implemented, I would comply, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But I'm also of the opinion that I think people should vote on it. I think they should do a petition drive, or it should be put on the ballot somehow to vote on it, because it is a huge public safety issue. But I'm also of the opinion that distracted driving and reckless driving are already on the books. There's things that can be done. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it would help if we went a full ban?
First of all, I mean, I do believe in, I have I call it my Minnesota Avenue rule, and my command staff knows exactly what that is. As an elected official, I'm able to make changes in department operations or things, as soon as somebody brings up a good idea, sometimes we'll just implement it. But I use my Minnesota Avenue rule, and that is, I said, okay, if we all go out there and on the hill here, we stop the first 100 drivers down the hill, and we pull them into the parking lot of the law enforcement center. We get them all out, and they sit on the hood of the car, and I'm gonna run this by them. I'm gonna ask them, is this the right thing to do? Is this what you want your law enforcement agency to focus on? Or is this how you want us to respond on this incident? I always wanna do the right thing, but always determining what the right thing is sometimes difficult. I'm on the cell phone ban, I'm kind of in your camp, that is, I'd like to see, at most, let the people decide something like that. It, hands down, there's evidence out there that shows that you're not as safe when you're on the cell phone as you are when you're not. Sorry, but I had a sausage McMuffin on my way to work today, and there are cities.
You have the sirens on?
There are cities where that's against the law.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
there are police officers that will stop you and write you tickets for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Eating McDonald's or eating while you're driving?
and I do believe that for about every law that they pass, they should pull one off the books. And so maybe you can find a corresponding one to say, you know what, maybe this is pushing a little bit, we don't have to make this illegal. So I know there's a lot of things, if some of the safety organizations in the nation had their way, or the EPA had their way, I think we would be under much stricter regulations than we already are today. And I'm not a big add more regulations person. I think that, I know that my car would be much safer if it required me to wear a 4-way harness like somebody in a credit store, and if I had a roll cage in it. But I don't want a roll cage. I'm willing to take, my car's not quite as safe, and so you'd think as a highway,
I wanted to read something to you.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
you think that as a safety proponent for, I want the roads to be safe, I want the public to be safe, but I also understand liberties and I understand that people don't like to be over-regulated, and I think that's a good one, that you should let the people decide.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's kind of the ballpark I am in on that, and just to say on that issue, that like you said, you know, people, you know, eating, the studies I've seen over the last couple of days, people have been sending me stuff, is that it's not holding the phone that is causing the issue, it's the conversation, because you seem to have more of an intense conversation while you're on a cell phone than you would someone sitting next to you. And they're saying even if the Bluetooth was still allowed, you're still not solving the problem of the distraction, because you're still having that conversation.
At some point, they'll tell you can't talk to your kids in the back seat.
Well, it's exactly what I was trying to read. I wanted to read you something real quick that we put up on the internet just today on the cell phone ban. But it was, you know, you've got the parent turning around and yelling at the kid in the back seat and slamming into the back of somebody else.
Yeah.
You've got, just in the last few days, I've seen a woman putting on makeup while she's holding something, and she must be driving with her knee.
She wasn't driving on it.
That's not why you're here to
No,
see me.
I'm sorry. I won't even say here.
Didn't have county license plate.
You know, and you know, so I'm on the streets of Sioux Falls a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, I have your old unit number 6 is what I
Oh,
drive
yeah,
every day.
Yeah.
So I go
Still
to,
running it.
oh yeah,
It runs good. We've been on some pretty good road trips with that thing.
yeah, it's been to Arizona and back, and it's
Still have the spotlight on it. Or?
they almost forgot to take it all out when I bought it at City County Auction. So that morning you could see where they pulled things out quick, so I had to kind of put things back together. Anyway, but
We found an Indian nickel in there too.
yeah, and I did find a few
Or Indian
extra
PVT
bullets
straw.
and a few things that were kind of rolled under the seats when I took the interior out to clean it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my problem with the cell phone ban is, how are we going to stop people from turning around and yelling at their kids in the back seat? How are we going to stop them from drinking their big Slurpees while they're driving? How are we going to stop them from shaving? You know, I saw a guy the other day shaving.
Shaving?
Yeah, you know, so.
I was thinking he's lathering up on the deck and his
Hey,
coat.
you know,
Like an electric
Yeah.
razor?
yeah, I was at
You know,
the
it's hoping.
cordless, and it's like, when was the last time I saw one of those?
Yeah.
But anyway, these are things that you see when you're out on the road around town here, you know, and you just kind of wonder what difference does any of that make to a cell phone? It's distracted driving.
Right.
And
And
there's an ordinance against
Yeah.
careless driving. I was a Sioux Falls
Careless,
police
okay.
officer, and I wrote hundreds of tickets investigating accidents where people were temporarily inadvertent, and what they did caused an accident, and there's an ordinance against it. But again, I do think it's, let the people decide how much they want to be governed.
yeah, and I think what we're doing is we're filling up jails, and we're creating crimes out of just plain stupidity
Yeah.
that needs to be education.
Right, but just remember, since the jail was the first start, I have no one in jail for cell phone violation.
No.
Or shaving or makeup. Let's just get that straight.
Or eating McDonald's.
Right.
So, you know, we've covered a lot of topics today, and we're gonna put this video up and let you guys enjoy it. I think it's a great conversation we've had.
Were
We'd
you
love
gonna
to
say
do more of
edit it
these.
first before you put it
You know what?
We don't usually edit it.
We work really hard not to edit them, because we usually try to keep pretty much on topic, and this is, we hope, you know, you come in and enjoy the video, and if there's any part of it that you know, would like to have highlighted, if you'd like to, you know, be able to even show to groups, we would really love to be able to do it. Because I'm sitting back here during most of this watching it as kind of the director, cameraman Bruce thing, you know, and I'm of the opinion we put the whole thing up just the way it is, even the part that we've now just, you know, this part of it here.
Your viewers would go, there's 8 minutes missing.
Yeah,
Nixon had 8 minutes missing.
He was at the trials. Don't get him started on that. I don't want to hear that.
But
That's
you
a
know,
long story.
part of this jail expansion is educating the community, because it's a big decision we wanna make sure everybody's as informed as they can be. We feel that the need is here and now, and it's safety and it's security, and even financially, if we have to start doing some of the things Lincoln County's doing, we're traveling down to Yankton with all of these prisoners let alone trying to find the bed space available, which is the number one problem, and then paying other communities to house your prisoners, and then the transportation costs and the safety and security issues that go with that. That quickly starts to add up and show you the need is here, it's now, it probably could have been started a couple of years ago, with the correction center, some of those things. So our goal is to get this message out and
Well,
to
this was
talk
the
openly
backup
about it.
facility for all these surrounding counties.
Right.
And we no longer have a backup facility. The backup facility is full, and for, very good reasons it's full. And we need to find a way to get it back on the road to.
Yeah, and you touched on the elected official part, and I actually said it again in the commission meeting yesterday, and that's it. I work with the county commission. I don't answer to them, other than they have the power of the purse over me.
Right.
But I only say that to separate the fact that as an elected official, I'm telling the community that I work for, the 180,000 people that live here, that we are up against the wall. We need to move forward with this. Now, at the end of the day, will it really be $40 million? I don't know. We started our last jail project at 30 million and it came down to 23 million. It may be 42 million, I don't know. But I will say that it's a project we need to start moving forward on. We need to get regular jail inmates out of the old Elks Club. We need to get rid of that property and replace it down here, and we're starting in that direction. And fortunately, the commission supported that yesterday. And now we have a lot more meetings to go to and a lot more of the details to work out. How big will it be? How are we gonna fund it? Are we gonna build for Lincoln County? All those questions, but at least we've got to start. One of the other questions is, how do we address the parking? Because we're gonna be displacing 156 cars here. They're very important parking spots because they're for the human services, community health, and the courts. And so we'll need a ramp here, and is that a chance for the city to be a partner and help us finance maybe the ramp part? And I was encouraged at our building committee meeting where we went for over 2 hours on this, that Councilor Anderson was in, Kenny Anderson Jr. was there, sat through the whole thing. I felt sorry for him sometimes because the meeting was difficult, but it was good to see the interest there. The mayor's office, the police chief, they've all been in contact with us to try to talk about the parking issue here. And really, quite frankly, while I like to say, to the city, could you help us pay for half this building, give us a couple $20 million maybe? The statutes are clear. It's the county's responsibility. And the other statutes is clear, the county is funded by property tax. And until that mixed up mess of the counties only having basically funding through the property tax owners, we have to live with that status. And the changes we hope will happen in the legislature. It hasn't happened in the 18 years I've been your sheriff, but we're always trying to see if they can modify that some way so there's a little fairer distribution of the tax dollars so that the county doesn't have to beg, borrow their way out of this situation.
I was gonna say, if you really do wanna stay under budget, don't get involved with the city. I mean, this is a jail, not an indoor pool.
Right. But it costs about the same as 2 of those, so.
Well, thanks a lot.
You
This
bet.
has been fun.
Come on, Soda Pop, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on.